Section 7.6, Multiplying Polynomials, continued. If you will look at this example 5, it wants you to calculate the area of this trapezoid. We first need to know the formula of the area trapezoid, which is 1/2 the height times the base 1 plus base 2. We are going to plug in our measurements. As of right now, all we know that the base 1 is h plus 1, and the second base is 2h plus 4. We're going to simplify this down, and we get 3h plus 5. Now, everywhere we see h, we're going to plug in the 18 inches. Multiplying, half of 18 is 9. You work inside the parentheses. 3 times 18 is 54 plus 5. So that's the area is 9 times 59. And 59 times 9 is 531. And it's inches squared. Example 2, we're solving. If you will notice, this is a very long equation. The very first thing we're going to have to do is to clear our parentheses by doing the distributive property. So when we multiply 2a times 5a, we get 10a to the second power. Be very careful about that. A times a is a squared. A lot of people mess that up. And 2a times a negative 2 is a negative 4a. We have to do the distributive property in the second parentheses. So that's a positive 6a squared plus 18a. Bring down the plus 8 is equal to, now on the other side of the equal sign we have to do the distributive property, and we get 4a squared plus 1a, or I could just say a. Do the distributive property again, 12a squared minus 8a plus 50. Now I'm going to combine like terms on each side of the equal sign. 10a squared and 6a squared is 16a squared. Negative 4a and a positive 18a. That's an 18. Is a positive 14a. Bring down the plus 8, because we don't have anything to combine that with. And then we're going to combine 4a squared plus 12a squared is 16a squared. Combine the a and a negative 8a is a negative 7a plus 50. Now, we have to move the 16a squared on, we need to get our a squares together. So I'm going to subtract the 16a squared. And we do that, the a squares go away, which in this case they should always go away. If your variables to the second power does not go away, you have done something wrong. So we're going to bring down the 14a plus 8 is equal to negative 7a plus 50. Now I'm going to solve for a by adding 7a to both sides. Get 21a plus 8 is equal to 50. Subtract 8 on both sides. 21a is equal to 42. Divide both sides by a. And 42 divided by 21 is 2. Example 4b, we're going to do the distributive property. We get 2x squared plus 8x plus 7 is equal to, now on the other side of the equal sign, there is nothing in front of that first parentheses, so we can just drop the parentheses and rewrite it. The second parentheses, we're going to have to do the distributive property. Now look on the left side of the equal sign. There is nothing that we can combine, so I'm just going to bring it down. On the right side of the equal sign, I don't have anything to combine the 2x squared with, so I'm just going to bring that down. I'm going to put a line through it to let me know that I've already used it. Now I'm going to combine 1x and 2x and get 3x. Combine the 8 plus 12 and get 20. Okay, I need to move my 2x squared. Again, the x squares go away, which they should. And I'm going to bring everything else down. Now I'm going to subtract 3x on both sides. Get 5x plus 7 is equal to 20. Subtract 7. Get 5x is equal to 13. Divide each side by 5, and I get x is equal to 13 over 5. There is no need to put it into a mixed number. If we were graphing, we would need to put it in a mixed number, but we are not graphing. So a fraction, an improper fraction, is just fine. Example 4c, I've got to do the distributive property. Now be very careful about the second parentheses. I'm not distributing a d, I am distributing a negative d. Negative d times a negative 4 is a positive 4d. In this instance, d squared and negative d squared, that goes away. So I get 7d is equal to 9d minus 16. I have to subtract the 9d on both sides because that 7d is sitting over there all by itself. So that's negative 2d is equal to negative 16. Divide both sides by negative 2, and I get d is equal to positive 8. Now we're going to cover part of 7.7, which is multiplying polynomials. We are going to multiply polynomials using the FOIL method. The FOIL stands for, F stands for the product of the first term. The first term, the 2x and the 1x are the first term in each binomial. So we would multiply those two together. Product means to multiply. So 2x times x is 2x squared. O stands for the product of the outside terms. The outside term of each parentheses is what's outside. There's nothing next to it. The 2x would be considered the outside term in the first binomial, and the 5 would be considered the outside term in the second binomial. I like to draw the part of a happy face. I'm going to multiply those two together. 2x times 5 is 10x. And the product of the inside terms, or what's inside, the 3 is the inside and the x is the inside. And I call that my inside smiley face. Multiply those together, I get a positive 3x. And my last term is the last term of each binomial, which is 3 and 5. And multiply those together, and I get 15. Combine the two middle terms, and I get 2x squared plus 13x plus 15. Example 1b, we are going to multiply using the FOIL method again. So the first times the first, x times 3x is 3x squared. My outside terms, x times 4 is a positive 4x. My inside term is a negative 6x. And my last, now for some reason, this is where people make their mistake. They want to add the last terms. You don't add, you multiply. Negative 2 times a positive 4 is a negative 8. Combine like terms. And usually it's the two middle terms, your outer and your inner, are the two that you will combine. Your first and your last, they will not add. They will not combine with anything. It's just usually the outer and the inner terms. Example C, I'm going to multiply again using the FOIL. The first term, 2y times 3y, 6y squared. The outside is a positive 10y. The inside is a negative 21y. And the last term, and again, be very careful that you multiply the last two terms. Negative 7 and a positive 5, we multiply and get a negative 35. Again, combine the two middle terms, get negative 11y minus 35. Example D, we're going to do the FOIL method again. 4a times 2a is 8a squared. Your outer is a negative 36a. Your inner is a positive 6a. And your last, that's negative 3 times a negative 9, which is a positive 27. Combine your two middle terms. Example 2. Again, we are going to multiply two binomials. We use the FOIL method. X times x is x squared. Your outside term is a negative 4x. Your inside is a positive 3x. And your last, again, we're going to multiply. Positive 3 times a negative 4 is a negative 12. Combine your two middle terms. Negative 4x and 3x is a negative 1x, or you could just say negative x minus 12. Example B, we're going to multiply 4b times 3b and get 12b squared. Multiply my outside and get 8b. My inside and get negative 15b. And my last is a negative 10. Combine the two middle terms, get negative 7b minus 10. Example C, again I'm going to do the FOIL method. It's 15a squared. My outside is a negative 20a. My inside is a positive 6a. And my last is a negative 8. Combine the two middle terms. That is the end of today's lesson. I do want to do number 30 for you. If you will read number 30 in your book, this is what it draws out to be. So I am going to plug in my base 1, which is 1/5 h minus 30, plus my second base, which is 2h. Now I'm going to combine like terms. 1/5 h and 2h is 2 1/5 h. Now I need to multiply, but before I multiply, I need to turn the 2 1/5 h into an improper fraction, which is 11 over h minus 30. I have to do the distributive property. I can either do the distributive property or I can go ahead and plug in what h is. I am going to go ahead and do the distributive property and get 1/2, multiply 1/2 times 11 over h. Well, that should be 5. So that's 11 over 10 h squared. Then I distribute 1/2 times, and then I get negative 15 h. Now I'm going to plug in 180 for h. So it's 11 over 10 times 180 squared minus 15 times 180. 180 squared is 32,400 over 1 minus 15 times 180 is 2,700. Cross reduce. And then you multiply 11 times 3240. And I think y'all can finish from there. Since I have run out of room, I'm going to let you finish this. Thank you.